Today, India is the fourth largest economy with a GDP estimated to be $4.3 trillion. And if despite global headwinds and global uncertainties, India today is growing at 6.5% GDP growth rate. I tell people proudly that Bharat is just going to reclaim its lost glory. We were also called in those days Sone ki Chidiya, the golden bird. And however, we're back on track. The last 10 plus years under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji, we have done tremendous work to get back on track. Not only development and, GDP growth rate, but like I said, the self-confidence that a lot of things can happen in India. Namaskar, my name is Aditya Pittie and I am the author of the new book, Viksit Bharat, India at 2047. Just for a quick background, I am an entrepreneur and businessman based in Pune. My family had started the first industry in Pune, which was a textile mill called the Raja Bahadur Motilal Mills Limited in 1893. So we have deep roots with the city of Pune. My schooling, etc. was in Pune, but for college, I went to the US. I've done material science and engineering from the University of Michigan and an MS and MBA from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, again in the US. Presently, we have a number of different businesses like real estate, precision machined components. We manufacture automotive and aerospace components, solar energy, and I'm also active with startups. I've had an interest to get actively involved in nation building. With that objective, I am also a member of the Bharatiya Janata Party in Maharashtra, and presently my role is as the convener of the intellectual cell of Western Maharashtra. I have an interest in writing books and writing articles. Last year, I had written a book called Modi's Northeast Story, which documented the remarkable transformation that has happened in Northeast India under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister. This book is called Viksit Bharat, India at 2047. A little background about the book. I'll first say, what prompted me to write this book. What concerned me was one, lack of knowledge and information regarding what all has happened in India, the remarkable transformation and development in India. That was one. The second thing is, as we're all seeing, we're in an age of information overload. There is a lot of information out there, but to a great extent, a lot of mainstream media is biased and opinionated. So, I didn't want to write a story with opinions, because my opinion can be something, your opinion can be something. What I believe, and that's my training from MIT as well, that data does not lie. So I wanted to tell a story with a lot of data and numbers. And, these are all from public and reliable public information. My reference citation section in the book is 40 pages long. So it gives you an idea of how deeply researched this book is. I love to use a quote of W. Edwards Deming, who is considered a quality guru, and manufacturing companies, when they win the Deming Prize, it's like winning an Olympic gold medal for them. So the famous quote is, "In God we trust, rest must bring data." So that's how important data is. The other thing was, try and unbundle what do you mean by Viksit Bharat. So this is, an initiative being driven by the Honorable Prime Minister, and he has spoken about Viksit Bharat numerous times and tried to explain what exactly Viksit Bharat is. So picking up from his speeches and trying to understand what's in his mind, what I'm trying to do in the book is to unbundle and explain what is Viksit Bharat. It's very comprehensively written in a very structured manner in 20 chapters. So it provides a holistic and a wide view about different facets of India's development. The other thing that I'm stressing throughout the book is that it is a call to action. I am, kind of continuously asking all citizens of our country and telling them that you must come forward and play an active role and contribute to nation building. And that's how we will create a Viksit Bharat by 2047. I tell people that Viksit Bharat will not be created by a handful of people and then it will be given to us as a gift in our hands in 2047. We will all have to step forward and contribute and do something for nation building. So that is one theme throughout the book. The third theme, which is most important, is how do we develop a spirit of self-confidence in ourselves and in our country. So I've used a term in the book called everything is possible confidence. I firmly believe that Bharat has this self-confidence now. Simultaneously we have lifted 25 crore people out of extreme poverty, as well as we have landed on the south pole of the moon and are soon going to launch the Gaganyaan mission. So India is doing everything. And India is slowly developing this confidence. I urge all citizens to also develop this self-confidence and come forward to do something for the nation. Because if we all take one step forward, the nation takes 140 crore steps forward. So really self-confidence is very critical, because what makes a country great or a superpower, not only economic or military strength, this self-confidence is what makes a nation great ultimately. Just to give you a quick idea, what we are talking about when we say Viksit Bharat. So the Western viewpoint of Viksit Bharat is quite limited to economics and per capita income. The definition of a Viksit nation, that means a developed nation, comes from the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. There it is defined roughly that a country having a per capita income in excess of 15,000 US dollars is considered developed. By this criterion, the US is developed, etc. To give you a context, India today is the fourth largest economy in the world with a per capita income close to 3,000 US dollars. So we have a long way to go. By 2047, the data suggests, and my own analysis in the book will show you this, that we will reach these targets of becoming a developed nation. But what is interesting, different, and much more valuable in the Honorable Prime Minister's vision of a Viksit Bharat is he has a holistic vision of development. It's easy to have an average of 15,000, but we are seeing that in the US as well, that as the country's GDP grows, the poorer have gotten poorer. So, the average remains the same, but if income inequality rises, you can still be considered a developed nation. Honorable Prime Minister feels that our development has to be different. We have to ensure that every citizen of the country has a minimum quality and standard of living. We achieve these targets in a sustainable manner while protecting the environment. We ensure that every citizen has equitable access to healthcare, education, and world-class infrastructure. We have to have a strong economy and also play a larger and larger role in global geopolitics. So this vision is very different, and I think this is a wonderful vision, a holistic vision, which is very different from the Western viewpoint merely chasing economic targets and numbers. What is also very important is the Honorable Prime Minister talks of Antyodaya. This is a concept and philosophy of Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay ji. The literal translation of Antyodaya is the rise or awakening of the last man. And the Honorable Prime Minister definitely has this vision, because if you are aware, a lot of our social benefit schemes that have been rolled out in India, whether it is direct benefit transfer, Ayushman cards, gas connection, water taps, toilets, etc., have reached 90% plus saturation levels. However, what the push now is to ensure that the final gaps get filled, and literally it reaches 100% saturation. So our vision of Viksit Bharat also has the concept of Antyodaya built into it. It's ultimately the entire philosophy is Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas and Sabka Prayas. So, everybody will get developed, and we definitely, the last part is important, which is Sabka Prayas. It needs everybody's involvement. I feel that some of the key challenges going forward is going to be income and regional disparities. This I've mentioned before. Our average may be high, but we have to ensure that income inequalities are reduced. Also, regional disparities. We are seeing now, especially in India, there is rapid progress and development. However, some states are lagging behind. A lot of opposition is being done for the sake of opposition alone, without consideration of, national goals and what will be good for the nation. So the data is again suggesting a few states are lagging behind. So not only does it, ensure low development in their areas, but it also pulls the national average down. So this is a key challenge. Another challenge, according to me, is skilling. We are one of the youngest nations in the world. We have a median age of 29. We have 20% of global Gen Z. We have a very young workforce. So this is a tremendous demographic dividend that India has. But the dividend also brings about challenges. We have to ensure employment opportunities for the youth. We have to ensure that through education and skilling, they have the skill set which are 21st century skills. The pace of change is accelerating. It's not only changing, but the pace is accelerating. We have to ensure that, skilling is upped dramatically. This is absolutely vital. So these are some of the challenges going forward. The third challenge, like I had mentioned, is some regional disparities. And a fourth is infrastructure deficits. So infrastructure is being built at a tremendous scale and speed in India. A lot of the central projects are world class, but India definitely needs a lot more world class infrastructure spread out across the country. And one of the very important things of infrastructure is that it has a direct or indirect impact on almost all sectors, having good infrastructure. It's not only related to business and transportation and logistics. If you have good infrastructure, even the tourism sector benefits, because people can easily fly into cities that earlier took them 2 days to get to, and nobody went there because of it. Another important aspect of infrastructure is that each rupee spent on infrastructure has a multiplier effect in the economy. Data suggests that it has nearly a 2.5x multiplier effect in the first year, and then further 3x in the subsequent years. So it's a very important boost to the economy. Like I had mentioned, the reasons for writing the book, one of the things I like to also highlight is that the book is a very positive narrative. I have not tried to look in the rear view mirror. It is positive and forward looking. I have tried to give a fair analysis and a snapshot view of where India is at today. And from here, how will we extrapolate to the 2047 targets? So it's a very positive narrative, forward-looking narrative. And I urge all of you to also fact-check my data, because when the book was written and by the time it went to the publisher and finally was in print and came into the market, a lot of this data will already be outdated. So as an author, it might be challenging, but as a citizen of this country, I'm extremely proud to say that most of the data would also be a little dated, but it shows the scale and speed with which development and change is happening in the country, making even a few months old data already outdated. I also challenge the critics that, if you fact check the current data, I am more or less certain that the number you will find will always be larger than my number. Because after 6 months, however critical you may be, your number will be larger than my number. A few things that I would like to especially point out is, how do we get to these targets? I've spoken about a 30 plus trillion dollar economy in 2047 with a per capita income in excess of $18,000, 18,000. So, different analysts or economists or writers would be coming up with different numbers. I have tried to make it very easy for the average reader. And in a section, I have talked about the mathematics of this $30 trillion economy. So in a very simple way, I try to explain that what do these numbers mean and what are the growth rates or assumptions required to get us there. So just to give you a quick idea, to get today, India is the fourth largest economy with a GDP estimated to be $4.3 trillion. And if we have to get to 30 plus trillion dollars in the intervening 22 years, it requires a compounded annual growth rate of approximately 9.2% CAGR, CAGR. So this is actually a nominal GDP growth rate. So just to clarify, a nominal GDP growth rate also includes inflation. If you delete or minus inflation from this, it gives you what's called a real GDP growth rate. Typically, India has had a inflation of 3 to 4%. So when you minus this, it shows you what the real GDP growth rate is required. Also to give you context, despite global headwinds and global uncertainties, India today is growing at 6.5% GDP growth rate, real GDP growth rate. So this shows that, the assumptions are quite realistic. If we maintain even this level of growth, we will be able to reach the compounded annual growth rate required to reach this 30 plus trillion dollar economy by 2047. In context, in fact, today India's inflation is quite low. We are at about 1.6% inflation, which was declared just a few days ago. So with these, in fact, assumptions, our real growth rate will be much higher. The other way I have tried to analyze this is to try and explain to the readers and now to the viewers the rule of 72. This is an interesting rule to know both in mathematics and in investment. So basically, if you divide the number 72 by any growth rate, or say, you're a mutual fund investor and your mutual funds are earning a certain return. Say they are earning 12% return per annum per year. So if you do 72 divided by 12, it equals 6. So this means that your investment will double in 6 years. So this is an interesting thing. I can use this very well by dividing 72 by the growth rate of an economy to tell you when the economy will double in size. So again, very simple mathematics, a different way of looking at the same thing, that to get from about 4 to 30 plus, you need about 8x, 8 times growth. That means 3 times doubling. So 2 into 2 into 2 is equal to 8. So it means 3 times doubling. So, it also shows you that possibly we could reach targets even higher than $30 trillion. So this was an easy way to explain the mathematics of the $30 trillion economy. On a lighter note, I like to also give the analogy of a T20 cricket match. So, basically what I am trying to present here is that the required run rate to win this match or reach our target is realistic and reasonable, provided we keep up the momentum of reforms, development, etc. that are already taking place in India. In fact, I am optimistic what Honorable Prime Minister recently has been speaking about, and which he also mentioned from his recent speech from the Red Fort on 15th August, is that we are trying to now usher in a new level of Big Bang reforms. So I am in fact hopeful and optimistic that we are going to not only do what we are doing, we are going to do a lot more, and our growth rate could possibly accelerate and jump much higher than this. So it's not like we require some unreasonable run rate to win the match. We have a reasonable run rate which could definitely jump higher, and we will be able to achieve these targets. I also want to put a couple of other things in context since we are talking a little more about economic concepts. There's also a concept called PPP, purchasing power parity. Basically, this looks at a bunch of goods that are available in your own local currency. So although the US dollar, for example, is 85 rupees to a US dollar, but those same set of goods, when you purchase them in India, are cheaper. It's not like it is multiplied by 85 rupees. So when you, in short, rupees in the hands of an Indian in India are worth more than what the dollar exchange rate suggests. So in those terms, India's economy is already the third largest economy in the world and estimated to be about $16 trillion, $16 trillion. So in those terms also we are doing well. We will also cross Germany to become the third largest economy in the world in possibly 2027. So India is doing well, and I think our pace of growth will just accelerate. One thing that I would like to point out is that most people, especially Western media and viewpoints suggest that, India is trying to reach these targets which are difficult, and, will India be able to do it? I always like to point out to them is that, India was always one of the largest economies in the world for possibly 1500 years, from the 1st to the 17th century. We were one of the largest economies in the world and controlled a large percentage of global GDP. So it's not like we are trying to do something new. I tell people proudly that Bharat is just going to reclaim its lost glory. We are finally going to reclaim our correct position in global affairs. This is our destiny which we will re-establish. As you all know, we were also called in those days Sone ki Chidiya, the golden bird. And before we were impoverished by the British, estimates and a lot of intellectuals suggest that the British stole nearly $45 trillion from India. Today's estimate, it's $45 trillion. We've spoken so extensively about these numbers, so you can imagine what kind of hit that did to India. However, we're back on track. The last 10 plus years under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji, we have done tremendous work to get back on track. Not only development and, GDP growth rate, but like I said, the self-confidence that a lot of things can happen in India. I would also like to, take a moment to tell you two pillars which are important for India that will get us to these targets. One is Atmanirbhar Bharat. This is extremely critical. As we are seeing in the present geopolitics, a lot of countries have now become inward-looking. They are following their own national interests. In all this geopolitics, India is very well placed. We have largely been insulated to a great extent from global turmoil because we are a large domestic consuming economy. We are not very dependent on exports, and hence we have been largely insulated in the face of many shocks, including COVID, etc. And present geopolitics also we are well insulated. However, along with the Atmanirbharta and self-reliance, once we start manufacturing critical things in India, which are important from a security and strategic point of view, that will place us in a much stronger position and will insulate us even further. Because yes, we are a bit import dependent, especially on our energy needs, oil and gas. So India is working hard on all of these issues. We have to become Atmanirbhar, bring about energy security, which will be critical. Make in India, along with the production linked incentives, PLI scheme is shown dramatic results. As many of you all know, India used to manufacture practically no mobile phones even 5 years ago. Today, we are the world's second largest mobile phone manufacturing country. in terms of even solar manufacturing. Today we have reached 100 gigawatts of solar module manufacturing capacity in the country. Defense manufacturing, the success of Operation Sindoor recently has also shown that all the defense equipment used, which was absolutely critical for this successful mission and India's tremendous success here, was all manufactured and to a great extent even designed in India, right from the BrahMos missile onwards. Prime Minister Modi has already talked about now we have to manufacture jet engines in India. This is an urgent cause which we are going to take up and will succeed very soon. But along with the big successes of Operation Sindoor, there were also a lot of successes by young startups of India. Many startups in Bengaluru and Pune were involved, a lot of drone technology, etc. So all of this, is happening in India, and this is all with the push of Make in India and the PLI schemes. Another, few dramatic initiatives in India has been the PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan. So this is like a multimodal logistics, and it's a way PM Gati Shakti is bringing about cooperation and coordination amongst different ministries, which earlier used to, operate in silos. So all of this coordination, not only are the ministries doing great work that they've been allotted, there is a lot more interdepartmental and interministerial cooperation and coordination that is happening to boost our targets and ensure that projects are swiftly completed. I would also like to, take this time to talk about one of the great successes in India, which is our digital public infrastructure, DPI. This is a crowning jewel of India's development in the last few years. Another way to look at it is the India stack. So this is really stack, literal, you can imagine them as layers. So the first layer was Aadhaar. You needed to establish digital identity of people. Our Aadhaar has more than 1.3 billion people. Then, we brought payments with UPI. The UPI numbers are so staggering and huge that I have to keep checking them from time to time. And it's sometimes surprising that are these numbers real, and you have to fact check them just to see the scale. So just to give you an idea, UPI today we are doing more than 19 billion transactions per month, 19 billion with a B. India is today handling about 48% of global digital transactions. So that's the scale of what's happening. On top of all of, plus we are now, licensing this technology to other countries. All of this is what is now commonly used term is at population scale. The scale is so large because everything is in hundreds of millions or even billion plus, that the new term had to be coined to explain this large sort of numbers. It's called population scale. Beyond UPI, the other layer was DigiLockers, where one can digitally store a lot of important documents, etc. Then we had ONDC for digital commerce. So a lot of these layers have been well thought of. It's very strategic, very nuanced, and this is how India is building up tremendous digital capabilities. Carrying on from digital public infrastructure, I would like to stress that a lot of basic hard tech, as it's called, is now being developed and focused on in India. Right from artificial intelligence, AI, to semiconductors. AI doesn't work without the chips, without the semiconductor chips. These are another issue. It's literally semiconductor security, just like any energy security. So geopolitics is playing a big role here. However, India has moved forward well on time, and we are setting up a lot of semiconductor manufacturing companies and plants in India. And we are working hard to ensure that we are even self-reliant in terms of semiconductor and chip technology. This, along with our well-established prowess in software programming, will ensure that we are at the top of the curve as far as AI and digital technologies go. Our startups are also doing a great work. As most of you know, India has the third largest startup ecosystem in the world after the US and China. We have about 1.8 lakh registered startups. They're doing a lot of work, and a lot of innovation and technology is being driven by the startups aside from the larger companies and the public sector. So a lot more work is happening in all of this. One thing though I would like to stress is that India definitely, especially the private sector, has to up their spend and kind of focus on research and development, R&D. Today, India is spending approximately only 0.65% of GDP on research and development, and this must cross 2%. This will ensure that we are not dependent on foreign technology, and a lot of the hard tech, the deep tech, is developed in India for India. So we do have to push up the spend on research and development. I would also like to, kind of now come back and take an overview that we have come a long way since 1991. People don't realize what state the country was in 1991. It was dominated by license Raj, bureaucracy, entrepreneurship was stifled, and it was a rent-seeking bureaucracy, in complex laws where corruption was rife. Great strides were made in 1991, but I would definitely like to point out that these were done out of necessity, not design. There was a urgent imperative due to the balance of payments crisis, which we were literally forced to make a lot of these reforms then in 1991. But this was all good for India. Post 2014, once Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji took charge as the Prime Minister of the country, a lot of things got done by design. So that's the difference, and that's why we've seen the pace of change since then. Again, data shows you how fast we've grown. All the numbers will support this. And what I think even then, the design was also, there was a strategic framework, I think, behind those designs. Initially the big structural reforms were targeted, such as GST, insolvency banking code. These were done, which are the big structural reforms. And now we have reached the, a place where we are looking at process reforms. So literally line by line in the various acts and rules in India to reduce complexity, reduce rent seeking, dramatically push up ease of doing business. So these are now being, looked at. One other thing that we'll talk about is, because I spoke a lot about citizen participation and that it is imperative for citizens to step forward for nation building and jointly build Viksit Bharat. So I get asked this a lot of times, what can citizens do? So I think there are very simple things. I'll tell you, we are presently in Delhi, in the NCR region. Traffic is chaotic. But yes, there is a role for the traffic police and the corporations. But why do you need the police or anybody to tell you not to jump a red light, at the signal? Why do you have to come from the wrong side of the road? So even these small changes of self-discipline can go a long way, not only to make everyone's life great, but this is nation building. So if you just follow traffic signals, this is nation building. If you maintain cleanliness around where you live, you see some garbage on the road, you pick it up, this is nation building. I think the Honorable Prime Minister also pointed this out in his Panch Pran, which he spoke about, which is, imbibe the goal of developed India, remove the colonial mindset, take pride in our heritage, maintain unity and solidarity, social harmony. So all of these, contribute to nation building, and this is what all of us as average citizens can do. I would also like to add here that we've just seen the dramatic success of Operation Sindoor, where our brave armed forces, protected the nation. We slept peacefully in our homes because the brave soldiers were fighting and maintaining a vigil on our borders. So along with this, what citizens can do, I think, please salute the people of the armed forces whenever you see them. This is also a great thing that you can do for nation building. Greet them with Jai Hind. This is the pride we can show, and let's honor them. So this is all part of nation building. Another thing here is that, most of us can wave around the Constitution of India, and we are well aware of, what fundamental rights that we enjoy as citizens. This is very important. We need to know our rights. All citizens need to know what's written in the Constitution. But there is a section there called the fundamental duties. And I urge all of you to now, check what that is. I have also mentioned it in my book. But there is a charter of fundamental duties of each citizen. Let's read that. Let's see what we can, follow those in our everyday lives and all come forward and contribute to nation building. I would just like to end with a few things. Martin Luther King Jr. very famously said that to other countries I go as a tourist, but to India I come as a pilgrim. So this is the greatness of India, our ancient civilization. Today we are talking about, and Honorable Prime Minister has said, Virasat bhi or Vikas bhi. So we will both develop, do our Gaganyaan mission, but we will also take pride in our ancient culture and civilization. We have one of the most ancient and advanced civilizations in the world. Let's take pride in that. I see one of the reasons we should take pride in that is we must know our roots. If you don't know where you're coming from, you won't know where you're going. Also, these roots, give strength to us as a nation to face any headwinds and any crises in the world. And that's why we have faced many challenges throughout our history and including the modern times today. It's just like a tree. The tree with deep roots can withstand heavy winds and storms and will not fall over. This is what our culture and civilization provides us. And I would finally like to end with the words of Honorable Prime Minister, which always inspire me. यही समय है, सही समय है, भारत का अनमोल समय है. Thank you, धन्यवाद.